Bacillus subtilis DE111 is a strain of probiotic bacteria that you may be taking right now. I want to take a few minutes to talk about the human research on Bacillus subtilis DE111 to give you an idea of what we know and what we don't know. So we begin our discussion by looking at this paper. Bacillus subtilis DE111 intake may improve blood lipids and endothelial function in healthy adults. Pretty much the study tells you everything right there you need to know, but what's going on? Essentially, we've got 88 healthy men and women. They're in their 30s, and they're given either 1 billion colony-forming units of the DE111 strain of Bacillus subtilis or a placebo each day for 4 weeks. As this study tells us, they observed some pretty interesting stuff. Number one, there was significant reductions in these people in total cholesterol levels, as well as LDL bad cholesterol levels as well, and non-HDL cholesterol, which is all the cholesterol minus the good cholesterol levels, which, by the way, there were no significant reductions in HDL levels, but I'm not too concerned with that because from a heart disease standpoint, it's all about lowering the LDL and not raising the HDL. And in addition to that, they also noticed that the Bacillus subtilis DE111 probiotic strain improved the endothelial function of the blood vessels. The endothelium is the inner lining of the blood vessels. It's where most of our nitric oxide is produced, and damage to the endothelial lining is one of the things that happens when people get heart disease. So this investigation is pretty darn interesting. However, I will point out that the individuals in this study were healthy. In other words, they did not have cholesterol problems. So I would like to see this investigation replicated with people who were not so healthy and had some elevated bad cholesterol, elevated triglycerides, etc., to see if Bacillus subtilis DE111 does the same thing as we're seeing here. We also have this paper, the effect of Bacillus subtilis DE111 on daily bowel movement profile in people with occasional GI irregularity. 50 people who are suffering from either occasional diarrhea or constipation or abdominal pain are given either a placebo or the DE111 Bacillus subtilis strain for 90 days. And the concentration of the probiotic here was also 1 billion colony-forming units. Now, they measure their progress using something called the Bristol stool chart, which is basically a rating scale for bowel habits. Lower numbers indicate constipation, higher numbers represent diarrhea, and healthy bowel habits are usually seen to be a rating of maybe 2, 3, or 4. So the Bacillus subtilis DE111 strain of probiotics was shown to reduce constipation and diarrhea, as well as gastrointestinal discomfort after 75 to 90 days of use. And that makes sense because it's going to take a probiotic bacteria some time to get a foothold in the digestive system and start to replicate. Now, while that was the main finding of this paper, I do want to also point out that they did before and after blood tests on these people, and they unfortunately did not notice any lowering of cholesterol or bad cholesterol levels in these individuals, which is just the opposite of what we saw in the previous study. Now, the next two studies actually involve probiotic use in people who are exercising. So let's take a look at the first paper, the effects of probiotic Bacillus subtilis supplementation during off-season resistance training, strength training, in female athletes. 23 Division I college female athletes complete a 10-week strength training program and either take a placebo or 5 billion colony-forming units of DE111 each day. I'll point out that the strength training program that was completed in this study was pretty aggressive and occurred 3 to 4 times a week and consisted of the following exercises, which were performed for 3 to 4 sets each. So pretty aggressive, but it is what I would expect for a Division I college athlete. So what happened here? Unfortunately, the probiotic strain did not make these athletes bigger, stronger, or faster. So no apparent ergogenic benefits within this study was observed. However, they did report that Bacillus subtilis DE111 appeared to reduce body fat in these female athletes. and it was clinically significant as well. It was about a 2% reduction in body fat in those who were taking the probiotic supplement, and I'll leave that to your discretion if you think a 2% reduction in body fat is real life meaningful, significant or not. Now, one potential drawback to the study is they did measure percent body fat using bioelectric impedance, which is a fine method. However, it's usually seen as less accurate than, say, the DEXA scan. So I personally would like to see this investigation replicated using a DEXA scan to see if the same reduction in body fat is observed in these probiotic takers. Now, in this next exercise study, we're looking at Division I baseball players. So here we have 25 college students who are Division I baseball players. They're given either a placebo or 10 billion colony-forming units of the DE111 probiotic strain each day for 12 weeks. So like before, there's no ergogenic effect. In other words, the probiotic strain does not appear to improve muscle strength or muscle endurance or any kind of athletic performance. However, they do report that the probiotic reduces something called TNF-alpha, tumor necrosis factor alpha. That's an inflammatory substance that's involved in the immune response. And while that finding is pretty interesting, let's keep in mind that this investigation lasted for 3 months. What I'm getting at here is the real test of whether DE111 helps the immune system is, do you get less colds and flus? Unfortunately, these researchers did not report any data on infection rates between placebo takers and the probiotic takers. And that brings us to this investigation, which I thought was pretty interesting. Daily probiotic strain Bacillus Subtilis DE111 supports healthy microbiome in kids attending daycare. So I don't see too many investigations using small children. So what we got here is 93 kids. They are aged 2 to 6. They're in daycare. They're given either a placebo or 1 billion colony-forming units of the DE111 probiotic for 8 weeks. So they report that the DE111 probiotic appears to significantly reduce bacteria that are considered to be pro-inflammatory. That's interesting, but that is the only finding that is reported here. So my question when I read the study is, what does this mean for these children? I'm not aware of any follow-up investigation on this. So Bacillus subtilis DE111 is an interesting strain of probiotics that has been clinically studied in humans. The studies do show some really interesting outcomes, but I do think they need to be replicated, especially in people who may not be so healthy, to see if what we're observing in some healthy people may also occur in people who are not so healthy. If you are taking Bacillus subtilis DE111, leave a comment below and let me know what results you have seen since taking this probiotic supplement. Hope this video helped, and until next time, take care out there.